right now, BYU 6-8. What's amazing, Jarom, is
I'm just saying how long I can stare at the camera.
the fourth place team in conference is LMU.
Yeah.
They're 7-7. The fourth place team has 7 losses. BYU has 8.
It's been a bloodbath 3 through.
Oh my goodness.
7, 8 right there. Yeah.
Well, now BYU is in serious trouble and are likely headed for a Thursday game for the first time ever in the West Coast Conference postseason tournament.
We hope not.
And if it stings extra because this is the last time BYU will play in the WCC before they make the jump to the Big 12.
I thought we were going to the MPSF.
This is not an ideal scenario.
Why did we mention the MPSF
as
so much?
BYU jumps to a Power 5 league and the best basketball league in America.
Yeah.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the consequences. What are the consequences of BYU's loss last night at home to Santa Clara?
So 6 seed or 7 seed feels like a possibility. BYU had a chance at like as high as 3 or 4 if they had won out.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could play on Thursday for the first time. 7 through 10 seeds jump in there. We'll be there regardless. So whenever BYU plays, we'll be at the tournament covering games
until at least Tuesday.
I'm concerned BYU might not make the NIT now. That's kind of been the end game for BYU this season, is at least make the NIT. I am concerned about that because you just lost at home in Santa Clara. If you lose in Moraga, you have to beat San Francisco and probably win 2 games in Vegas just to get to 19, and even then I'm not sure that's enough. If BYU gets to 20, it feels like, hey, you got a real solid chance at getting into the NIT. And then there is real concern for me that there's a possibility BYU goes 500 and doesn't make the NIT. Let's walk through it. At Moraga, San Francisco at home, you go to Vegas, you lose that first game, you are 500, and you don't make the NIT. That would certainly be a disappointing season. Last night, BYU didn't make enough threes, missed a bunch of free throws. It was tough. And yes, it's a 7-point game in the end, but this game was lost in the first half. BYU.
You're down 17 at halftime.
Yeah, BYU refused to walk through that door. Santa Clara was begging BYU to come back in this game. BYU didn't hit another, they'd get it down to 10. They wouldn't hit that 3 to get it to 7 and induce a timeout from Santa Clara, right?
Yeah.
So there's some real concern, Spence, that this season is what we were hoping it wouldn't be, which is a non-NIT kind of season. This team's shown us some real nice stuff, but consistently haven't been as good as we were hoping. Now, they have been at home. Last night was a real anomaly. BYU was 11-3, beating teams by 10 points at home. And then they're just getting destroyed. I am concerned there are a few cracks in the dam that Flexio won't cover up. Not getting paid by them, but I could be. That are going to be tough to seal up the next couple of weeks because we're at the very end here. You're supposed to be, like you said on the postgame, I'm concerned this is happening on February 16th.
It's late.
That's
in the season.
concern.
It's late.
That's a maybe December or January thing. It's February. You got to be playing good ball now.
Yeah, I wonder what BYU can do emotionally at this point. You only have so much left in the tank.
Tried to summon, right?
And to their credit, after tough losses, they have typically showed up and played hard. And you don't have to go back that far to see the most recent example. BYU lost just a terrible game against last place Pepperdine, and we all thought, oh man, what team's
going to get smashed in Spokane?
Are they going to lose by 40?
They played really well in Spokane.
They're up with 4 minutes to go in the game in Spokane. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay. This team does have some grit.
Yeah.
Do they have enough to respond again? I worry that there are just too many cracks in their emotional tank. I feel like they have the skills to compete with anybody and beat anybody in the league.
And maybe that's what's disappointing, is that they're not.
But they have also shown us that they can lose to anybody in the league as well. And that is a very difficult line to walk. So what team's going to show up in Moraga? I think we'll learn, okay, what BYU actually does have left when we see how they perform against St. Mary's. As far as consequences go, BYU is likely going to finish with a losing record in conference for the first time ever in West Coast Conference play. They're probably going to finish 7-9.
They can't have a winning record.
No, there's no way to have a win. The best they can do is 500 in league.
Yeah, that's tough.
And that would require winning in Moraga and then beating a San Francisco team that's a bad matchup for BYU on the guard line. So 7-9 feels like BYU's realistic best option for West Coast Conference play right now, which is probably a 6th place finish, maybe 7th place. I hope for their sake they get a bye into at least Friday. But Jarom, a Thursday game is a real possibility, and a losing record in West Coast Conference play is the most likely outcome.
Yeah, this stinks, man. It stinks. Come on. Go and compete against St. Mary's. Just pull off and up. Topic 2. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark joined John Canzano and John Wilner on the Canzano and Wilner podcast this week, gave some insight into a couple of topics. First, Yormark was asked about the decision for the Big 12 to open media rights, get a deal done early, why they did this, and did it cost them money?
As you're reading now, the media landscape's changing. The big media companies are really more focused on what they need versus what they want. I think we're reading about that every day. It's a changing landscape. And not that I had any foresight into it, but obviously with our partners Endeavor, we strategized and we looked at the landscape. We looked at who was going to be in the market at the same time. I mean, when I was in Phoenix, everyone was there talking to the media partners. I mean, think about UFC being out there right now, the NBA, CFP, WWE. It's a crowded space right now. And by going early, I was able to gain the attention of arguably two of the biggest media brands in the world. And they saw our vision. They realized where we were going. They liked it, and they doubled down on us. So for all the right reasons, we went early. And I think that decision today is looking even better and better.
Indeed it is, Spence.
How can you argue with that?
Because what the Pac-12 is trying to do right now is not they don't have a ton of leverage in the
What leverage do they have?
And I almost wonder if ESPN and Fox were kind of like, we're not going to go with both of you. We're probably going to go with one of you. And then, they had talks in the fall, first right of refusal, right? The opening negotiations there. It didn't happen. They didn't get a deal done. Remember, this isn't a deal for right now for the Big 12. This is a deal for 25 when Texas and Oklahoma leave. Brett Yormark has proven that his aggression has led to good things so far, and we'll see what that means in expansion perhaps. It feels like he's waiting for Oregon and Washington to want to leave perhaps, and then as opposed to I go and make a move, but his move is we are open for business, which has been the famous phrase here.
Let's talk. Let's have a discussion about it. And that's the right approach. $31.66 million per school in the new deal, which, by the way, is more money per school than the Big 12 was getting with Texas and Oklahoma in the conference.
And that deal had been done like a long time ago.
Sure, but still, I remember having a conversation with you
and that's
on this
TV
show.
Money only.
Sure, I remember having a conversation with you on the show saying, heck, if they get $20 million per school without Texas and Oklahoma, it's a win for BYU.
They got way more.
They got
that was awesome.
31.6, and if you missed it earlier in the week, we learned from Dennis Dodd, who was the first to report it, with NCAA tournament revenue and bowl game revenue and everything else that goes into the conference, they think it will be close to $50 million per school without Texas and Oklahoma in the conference.
Yeah, and that number had been reported a while ago.
Sure. Huge win for Brett Yormark here, because he did have leverage and by going early and used it to get what he wanted.
Yeah.
So the early play is paying off literally in so many ways for the Big 12. And, I know that we kind of poke fun at the Pac-12, and it's kind of a sad situation. Like, it's tough that it has come to this. And we're learning that streaming services, notably Amazon, is saying, well, we have all the leverage now, so you're going to have to meet our terms, Pac-12, if you want us to stream.
We're paying $1 billion for season 1 of Rings of Power, so...
Like, the Pac-12 is in a really, really tough spot right now.
Yeah.
And, man, this is just the new age of college.
Sports reporting, yes, that Amazon playing hardball with Pac-12 because
They can.
They can.
Because the Pac-12 has little to no leverage. How about this? Brett Yormark was asked if the Big 12 was targeting Pac-12 schools because the Conference of Champions is in such a tough spot.
These are Pac-12 reporters, by the way.
Yeah. This is what he said.
I'm not targeting anyone specifically. I said, and I've been saying it, I've been pretty transparent and intentional that we'd like that fourth time zone to create more value for our media partners. We're entering a third time zone, obviously, with our expansion that becomes official in July with, the 4 great new schools coming into our conference. but would I like to be a national conference in all the different time zones and from a geography standpoint, have our Big 12 flag all over the country? 100%. And we'll see where it ends up. Obviously, it's a fluid process. There's a lot at stake out there, and we'll see where we end up. But it is certainly something I think about daily, and it's been part of my vision since I've been here, and I've been very public about it.
Again, open for business. He's not targeting any schools per se, but he certainly is saying, if you are interested in joining our conference and things get bad enough for you, yeah, we clearly want to be in that Pacific time zone and have something that no other conference in America has, and that is games in every single time zone across the continental.
Like
48.
a better version of the 16-team WAC.
Yeah,
right?
way better version.
Where it was like, no, there are actually some power players in this. And TCU really sort of softened that up quite a bit last year, because it's like, we didn't need Texas and Oklahoma to be the team in the playoff. We had somebody else, like one of the other wave of expansion candidates from 2012, right?
Sure.
In TCU.
And frankly, Baylor and Oklahoma State the year before that were better than Texas and Oklahoma.
Both were in the New Year's Six the year before. Yeah, and obviously Texas and Oklahoma, you take them for a year, and you pocket the $100 million after that. BYU maybe will get a little bit of that. I imagine the original other 8 get most of that, right? But it's important for Yormark to sit there, because it's like, okay, Oregon and Washington, if the Big Ten don't want you, clearly that's where they probably would want to go, you think, is we're right here. Hi.
$31.6 million a year.
And is it SEC Big Ten money? No, it's not. But are we all, everybody, the other 3 competing for third place here? Yeah. The Pac-12 isn't competing for third place. They're competing to exist as currently constituted. And we'll see what that looks like. Who would be the Pacific time zone team you'd pick up, or teams? Some people talking about the Four Corners. I know Jeff Hansen, not a fan of that particular nickname. But Arizona State are they are Pacific 6 months out of the year. Sure. I don't know if they count like we've joked. We'll see what that looks like. But the Mountain Time Zone is the BYU edition there, which is kind of exciting. BYU has put this league into that space. And, of course, UCF and Cincinnati added to West Virginia being in the Eastern time zone. So now you have 3 schools over there.
Now you have a Big 12 Saturday scenario.
Yes.
Where you
boom.
You have a noon Eastern, a 3:30 Eastern,
a 7 and a 10:30.
And a 10:30 Eastern. You have Big 12 football
and
all
we are
day.
Probably the 10:30 Eastern until there's a bunch more Pacific.
Unless BYU's playing somewhere in the Central or Eastern time zone and they're in an earlier game on the road, great. But if it's a home game, BYU's probably the late game. Big 12 after dark.